Isak. You best hope that this gamble pays off, bro. Gets real. It gets real. It gets, guys. We're now in we're in real territory right now because the bridge has been burnt. The bridge has been burnt, and you cannot reconstruct that bridge right now because that statement. I will get to the statement. The statement that Isak has made is a point of no return. And the thing with the statement is cool. Isak, if you don't make that move to Liverpool, I don't know what the next season looks like for you. So if this move is this is basically he's pressed the red button. He's pressed the nuke. Houston, we've got a problem. He's pressed that damn nuke. So once you press the nuke, you can't go back. That statement is the nuke. This is the nuke to say, oh, us and Newcastle, finito cappuccino. Finito. So let's take a look at the statement right now. Let's talk. I'm proud to be recognized by my fellow. Hold on. Let me just cut this off right there. Thank you. I'm proud to be recognized by my fellow professionals with a place in the PFA Premier League team of the season for 24-25. First and foremost, I want to thank my teammates and everyone at Newcastle United who was supposed to be along the way. Hey, so look, trying to be respectful for Newcastle. I'm not at the ceremony tonight. With everything going on, it didn't feel right to be there. I've kept quiet for a long time while others have spoken. It's true. That silence has allowed people to push their own version of events, even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. Because that's very key. What was said and agreed behind closed doors and why that is problematic. The reality is that promises were made and the club has known my position for a long time. Does that matter though? We'll get there, but does that matter? To now act as if these issues are only emerging is misleading. When promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship can't continue. That's where things are for me right now and why change is in the best interest of everyone, not just myself. So, you say that, and guys, I don't know how you can come back from that. Like, I don't know how Isak cannot be back as a Newcastle player from that. Now, maybe it can happen, but that statement, it's so concrete, it's so direct, and it's such a direct attack on the credibility of a football club that, boom, that bridge has been nuked. But basically, do you know what's happened to that bridge? You know when Goku goes Ultra Instinct and he just goes crazy with that freaking fireball that takes place that can like engulf a whole planet. That's what happened to that damn bridge. That bridge has been Ultra Instinct. It's been Super Saiyan Ultra Instinct, bro. But I've got a good thing to say there because it's been interesting because I've been having a back and forth with my brother about this, and my brother has been like, what Isak is doing is ridiculous. How he's acting is trash, poor behavior, and he's just acted very poorly. And I said to my brother, this is true. On the surface, Isak, you're under contract. You're under contract and you have to fully respect that contract. You've got to honor the contract. You've got to honor the contract. You're under contract. It is what it is. Oh, but no. You signed a contract that has an expiry date. Until that contract expires, you turn up to training, you go to preseason. If a team doesn't come up with the money for you and Newcastle don't accept you're a Newcastle player, which means that you have to take part through everything that Newcastle have now done. So on the surface, Isak has acted poorly on the surface. But there's context. 8 to 9 times out of 10, what Isak is doing has led to a player making their move. So Isak's camp has said to Isak that players have done this, and once they've done this, they've gotten their move. That's the sad reality. It's not right. It's morally wrong. You are not honoring your contracts. And regular guys like us who work like 9 to 5, regular jobs, we have to honor our contracts. We can't just walk up and just go. There are certain things we need to do to just sort of renege our contracts. But facts are facts. Players have done this, and it's been cool. Because my thing is this, is that this isn't, because there was the Kane scenario, but there's a scenario that's even much more recent. Gyökeres. So let's not ask that as if what Isak is doing is somehow this is new and this is terrible. Gyökeres did the exact same thing. Gyökeres had a gentleman's agreement with Sporting Lisbon that said, if a team comes up with X amount of money, you will accept it. Arsenal came up with that same exact amount of money. Sporting Lisbon said, nah. And Gyökeres was like, no. We shook. We had a gentleman's agreement. You gave a promise to me that if a team came up with this amount of money, you would accept it. Sporting Lisbon said, no, we've changed our mind. We want more. We know we can get more, so we want more. And Gyökeres didn't turn up for pre-season, didn't turn up for training, and was not honoring his contract as a Sporting Lisbon player. So what Gyökeres did is the exact same thing that Isak is doing. And what happened? Gyökeres got his move. Gyökeres got his move. Now, the slight difference is that that's a much smaller fee, whereas Liverpool have to play a much larger fee. Hence why Gyökeres' gamble was 100%. That gamble 100% made sense. The Isak gamble is much more different. But I wanted to come something to that, to something in the statement that's being made. And I'm shocked that people still do this stuff. But it's complex, but work with me here. So way back when, the Wild Wild West. Shouts Will Smith. Crap film. Good song. Wild Wild West. Jim West. Desperado. Rough Riders. I don't want nada. Men in Blacks was better. Song and the film. So back in the day, in the Wild Wild West, this was before contracts. People felt that your handshake meant something. More so than that. Spits, shake your hand, we honor you. So we've now split our hand, we've now shaken, which means that when someone comes with this price of money, he can now take this farm away. Boom. So if this guy comes with this amount of money, I can now buy this farm. Boom. We've spat, shook our hands. A month comes back, hey, this guy came with this amount of money to take this farm. Nah. But we shook. Did we? But we shook. Do you have proof that we shook? No, but we shook. And when we shook, I don't remember that we shook. Unless you have proof that we shook hands, nah, I'm not selling this farm. So what happened? A contract. So now, hey, if someone comes with this farm, with this amount of money, you sell this farm. Okay. And you sign here. Okay, signed. Hey, come with this money. We want to buy this farm. No. But you signed the contract. Did I? You did, because we have a thing here called a contract. And in black and white, that is your John Hancock. You've signed it, which means that this is proof that it's not being sold. So you can say, lie all you want, black and white, it's a contract, give us your farm, Farmer John. So, for Isak, this whole things of promises being made and everything, you can't be making promises in 2025. You can't be. Because Isak, you have to realize that it's a business. And when it's a business, the club will always look after number one. So let's just play it out. Let's say Isak said to the club that, okay, If someone comes in with 120, we will let you go. Let's just say that's happened. And then it's okay. 120 million in the summer, we will let you go. Someone now comes through. And someone comes up with 120. And you guys are like, we don't have a replacement striker. That's going to harm us. We want more than 120. So it's like, but I'm sorry. We thought we'd get a replacement striker. We haven't. So things have now changed. It's like as Darth Vader said, like in Star Wars. Oh no! I'm now changing the orders of the deal. The deal is now changed. I'm changing things, but you can't. I am. So the Newcastle United Newcastle United are not indebted in so honoring a promise for Isak. Everybody has to honor a contract. That's just a fact. That's legal. Nobody has to honor a promise. No. For Newcastle, like, okay, yeah, we promise you, sure. But if it comes down to it and selling Isak for 120 without a replacement, it doesn't happen to Newcastle, it's not happening. Because all that matters is Newcastle United. That's for number one. Isak has to worry about number one, him. Newcastle have to worry about themselves. So for Isak, you have to realize that same thing happens to Kane. Kane said that, shook hands with Danny Levy that I'd be allowed to go. But you're like, no, we're going to make it hard for you. No, it's not going to happen. So my thing is, this is a gamble. But I want to be very clear here. What Isak is doing is not different from what every other player has done. And 8 to 9 times out of 10, what tends to happen is the player gets his move. That's just the sad reality. It is what it is. Gid. You want to move to Liverpool, you have to initiate Project Gid. And more times than not, it doesn't always work, but more times than not, Project Gid ends up with the player getting his move while under contract. Now look, I don't know whether we're going to have an emergency hangout, because an emergency hangout is pending if Liverpool get this done. Before this statement, I was like, I think Newcastle's keep him. Newcastle keep him. He comes on. He gets booed. Drops a two-piece, another two-piece, another goal. All is forgiven. He now says sorry. He apologizes, and everything now goes through. Before the statement. After this statement, I go back to what I said in an Aaron video before. If I'm Eddie Howe, I'm saying to the Newcastle guys that we've got to get rid of this guy. As a manager, I can't have this guy in my team. I can't. I just can't have this guy in my team. So I'll be saying to, and also I think Wisa, he might still be on the move. So I'll be saying to Newcastle higher ups is that we've got to find a middle ground. But he's got to go. Because, and also remember, time is ticking. Because the best scenario, this is the best scenario for Eddie Howe is you get I think it's going to be 150. For me, after this statement, it's going to be like 130 plus. It's going to be, I'm going to say something like, guys, could be 130 plus. Because he's now making things really difficult and now making things toxic. And so I told you guys that this tends to work. Because Isak is just bringing so much negativity into it. It's now forcing Newcastle's hand, forcing them to sell. Because you're now disrupting the harmony of the group. Because now, is he staying? Is he going? Is he staying? Is he going? Newcastle. And you don't want that toxicity, especially during a season. So if I'm Eddie Howe, I'm like, no, we need to get rid of this right now. So before the statement, it was 150 plus. After the statement, it's looking like 130, 135 plus. Get this done. Transfer window is closing. Let's try and improve the squad. Because with 130, midfielder, wide player, attacker, defender, just bolster the squad. So the wise thing for Newcastle to do now is start scouting as to what deals you can now do with the potential money coming. So already start to now look at players you can bring in and try and get this deal done as soon as possible. So as soon as he's sold, you've already gotten the replacements before the transfer window closes. And you can now use the rest of it back in the winter window. That's the wise thing. He's a prime target. But it's how, what did I say before? This tends to work. You want to keep your best players, of course. This is a sport where you need your best players to win. But a football reality is once that player says he doesn't want to play for you, you can't keep him. Because you only get the best from your best players physically and mentally. But if they're mentally not 100% with you, no, it can't work. It can't work. So it remains to be seen. It feels as if we're going to get an emergency hangout. It feels as though, but if we don't, I don't know how next season is going to look like for Isak and Newcastle, bro. The plot thickens.
Their psychology stats, but going into it, let's just use
people don't use that though.
Psychology stats. So he's a 90 on noisy, he's a 40 on a bad boy, and he's a 35 on he's nice to his mom. Okay. The degree of difficulty of this goal is insane. To watch the rest of this vid, think about becoming a Football Hut member. If you're a desktop merchant, just click on the join button below, over here. Or if you're a mobile phone merchant, just click on the join button below the video over here and join the true elite content crack addicts. Peace.